You just joined the board. You looked at the reserve account and your stomach dropped. The money that's supposed to be there for roofs, parking lots, major systems, it's gone. Drained by years of bad decisions you weren't even a part of. Now it's your problem. Where do you even start? The first instinct is panic. The second instinct is to start guessing. How bad is it really? What's coming due? How much do we actually need? Don't do that. Flying blind is how your community got into this mess. It won't get you out. Before anything else, you need a reserve study. If you don't have one, or if the one you have is outdated, that's step one. Full stop. Nothing else matters until you have this. A reserve study is your roadmap. It inventories every major component your association is responsible for. For instance, roofs, siding, HVAC systems if you have a self-contained building, paving, everything. It estimates the useful life of each component and projects when replacements will be needed. And it calculates how much you should be setting aside each year to fund those future expenses. Here's why this matters for you personally. You don't need a finance background to use a reserve study. It's the great neutralizer. It translates complex capital planning into a document that any board member can understand. Without it, you're guessing. With it, you have facts. Fair warning, once you have the reserve study, you're going to see things that are uncomfortable. That's the point. The study will quantify the gap between where you are and where you should be. It will show you exactly how underfunded your reserves are, and it'll project what's coming, which components are nearing the end of their useful life, which replacements are imminent, which ones might you be able to defer, and which ones you absolutely cannot. Most boards who inherit drained reserves don't actually know how bad the situation is. They have a vague sense of dread, but no real numbers. The reserve study forces honesty. You can't hide from it. You can't pretend the roof has 5 more years when the data says it has 2. This is uncomfortable, but you can't solve a problem you haven't sized. The study gives you the truth, and the truth is where recovery begins. So the reserve study comes back. It says you should be contributing $50,000 a year to reserves. Your budget can handle 20. Now what? This is where boards freeze. You're not choosing between fund it fully and ignore it. You're choosing between difficult alternatives, each with real consequences. Special assessments to close the gap. Association loans to spread the burden out over time. Deferred repairs that buy you runway but increase long-term costs. Some combination of all three, or, and this is the one nobody wants to talk about, assessment increases significant enough to actually fund what you need. None of these options are free. None of them are painless. And the longer you wait to choose, the fewer options you have and the more expensive they become. This is exactly where most boards get stuck. They have the data. They understand the problem. But translating that into a recovery plan that residents will accept and that actually works, that's a different skill entirely. A reserve study gives you clarity, but clarity isn't a plan. Knowing you're underfunded by $300,000 doesn't tell you how to sequence the recovery. It doesn't tell you how to communicate with residents. It doesn't tell you which trade-offs make sense for your specific community. The boards that dig out of reserve crises successfully don't do it by reading the study and guessing at next steps. They work with professionals who've navigated this terrain before, who know where the landmines are and how to build a path that residents can actually follow. If you're staring at a depleted reserve account and wondering how to move forward, you're not alone. But moving forward without a strategy is how communities stay stuck for years. This is a conversation worth having sooner rather than later. At ManageMax, we know that effective community management is built on transparency and systematic excellence. We provide full-service HOA and condominium management across Southeast Michigan, handling everything from accurate financial reporting to proactive maintenance. Our goal is to reduce the burden on your board while protecting your property values. If you're looking for a partner who values accountability as much as you do, visit us at managemaxproperties.com. Let's build a stronger community together.